Yo, I've been down to empty balls since 5 Ruby 10 and wrecked the hall. Now I'm merging for resurgence. Check the standings, man, it's surgeons. Spartan champs, the fake ass runners. Wolverine's got more game than Hunter. You miss cagers, hyped like ravers. Blind shirt hit last second game savers. While roll off his fingertips. Then go switch like drag queen hips. Groniger, sinking trays. Hit more shots than NRA. Queen and Young, future stars like our BRJR. Tisket, tasket, sinking buckets. Features the basket, breaking target. My man Rose, b-ball thug. Let him off the bench, triple dub. Break to the lakes, break to the lakes, break to the lakes. Fast break. Fast break. Fast break. Fast break. Fast break. Wait, slow it down. We need some brawn with Vaseline gone, and a man who can lead us on. Eller, no. Putzi, no. Amaker, Snyder, Smith, who knows? Yo, no joking, we need coaching. We got rivals that need smoking. Moore pound 'em, Jones will hound 'em. Searite Speed'll straight astound 'em. Jermaine G gonna go QB. Gottfriedson play some Monster D. Colin Dill got the legacy, but can't dunk like HG3. No opposing the frozen chosen, throws up the ball and of course it goes in. Break to the lakes, break to the lakes, break to the lakes. Fast break. Fast break. Fast break. Fast break. Fast break. Wait. What do you mean they aren't going? Ah, damn it. Where's the remote?
Gotta play the whole... Welcome to another episode of Break to the Lakes. I'm your host, Nick Berger. With me, as always, the one and the only Mike Koikin. Hope you still have an appetite for college basketball, because we certainly have a full plate for you tonight.
I'm hungry for some basketball.
Yeah, me too. In the past week, we crowned the national champion, the Duke Blue Devils. Thank you very much. I've been calling it all year. Mike, I told you before the show, granted I'm a few years older than you, so I'm wiser. You should listen to me when I tell you Duke was going to win that game. I knew it all along. I knew it in November.
Congratulations, Nick Berger.
I am the man.
Let's have a party after this.
Well, we certainly will. So if you're not 21, you're not invited. In any event, if you've been buried under a shell and you haven't heard,
I got an ID that says I am, by the way.
Michigan named a new men's head basketball coach, Coach Tommy Amaker, going through the Duke pipeline. I know a lot of us a lot of Michigan fans at least like to bash Duke, but certainly what you've seen the past week with, how they came back from 22 against Maryland and, the mystique of this Duke program, you bring in a guy like Coach Amaker, you have to say to yourself, that's not a bad decision. We've talked about this before. Let's get started, though. Little Final Four recap. Give us your thoughts on it. We certainly know how I felt about it.
Well, we saw a great Final Four this year. As we mentioned last week, 4 teams that really were heavyweights coming in. No one, no surprises when you got Michigan State, Arizona, Duke, Maryland, all 4 great clubs. Saw a great game between Maryland and Duke, where Duke was down 22, 39-17 in the first half. Biggest comeback in Final Four history. For a while there, Nick Berger, you weren't looking so prophetic with your words, but the Dukies, they got it together. They came back.
I was definitely keeping quiet. When they were down by 22 points, I definitely had a little sweat above the brow, no doubt about it.
But anyway, Duke came back, great performance. Once again, Shane Battier, Jason Williams, all the normal cast of characters for the Blue Devils. On the other side, we saw a Michigan-Arizona game that was really, I just was, I could not believe what I was seeing from that Michigan State team, a team that never turned the ball over much during the regular season, played sound fundamental basketball, great defense. And during that game, what was happening? You watch that game, so many lazy passes at the top of the key, picked off for dunks and breakaways. I could not believe it. Tom Izzo just put his hands to the gods, didn't know what was going on.
That was certainly very uncharacteristic of the Michigan State Spartans. That's not the kind of basketball that they've played all year. They've been pretty consistent, even with their losses throughout the season. Very few losses that they've had. They've played some exceptional basketball. It's uncharacteristic to see them making lazy passes, not picking up their man on defense. And, one thing that I saw out of that game was Michigan State probably played their worst game of the year, and Arizona probably played their best. And, that's unfortunate if you're a Spartan fan, but, that's what happens. It could happen any day to any team. And certainly Duke, though, not to forget what we're talking about for a second, but, Duke being down by 22, I was definitely a little worried, because I did pick Duke, but I have to tell you something. They are the most talented team, without a doubt. And being down 22, if you remember, the first time they played Maryland, they were down, I think, by 11 points with about
51 seconds left.
With 51 seconds left in the game, and they came back, And if you've watched that game, then you know that anything's possible, especially with a Duke team with an offense as potent as theirs.
And when you see that Duke team, and and when you're on a team that has come back and has proven they come back, I tell you this: when I watched the game, I was like, haha, Nick was wrong. But really, I was like, I think Duke could come back, and they did. They came back slowly but surely. The same thing they did against Maryland. When you can score 10 points, overcome a 10-point deficit in 50 seconds, you can come back from anything, and that's what they had in their hearts and in the back of their minds as they came back. They beat Maryland, and it was the same team that they had came back when they had been down with 51 seconds left.
A big theme that we saw throughout the tournament, and if you listen to the radio shows and you listen to you watch the television shows and you read the papers, one of the themes was that Duke was getting a lot of cheap calls. They were getting, it was almost like the referees had Blue Devil T-shirts underneath the stripes.
They end you, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we are. I mean, we can be biased, yeah.
I was giving you a hard time.
But did the referees blow some of those calls? Do you think? Because do you think the refs really played a role in Duke winning? I mean, my thought is this: good teams get calls. The Atlanta Braves get it. Certainly, Michael Jordan and the Bulls got the calls. But when you're down 22, if you're up 22, for instance, if you're Maryland, you can't blame the referees on a game. I mean, 22 isn't like 5 or 6. 22 is a lot.
Yeah, but 22 when you're playing a team like Duke with that much firepower isn't like 22 when you're playing the Wolverines.
Right, but a lot of Terrapin fans feel that the referees blew the game.
I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's accurate at all. I think that Duke, throughout the season, might have gotten a few questionable calls. Shane Battier, in particular, got questionable calls. But not just the Maryland game. In the Arizona game, Billy Packer, the CBS analyst, was just going, bananas, saying that Arizona was getting, not getting the calls that Duke was getting.
Yeah, that was the one where Jason Williams had the block and had the body on.
That one, I think, was a foul. But I think that some people were overreacting a little bit. I think Duke deserved to win that national championship. They deserved to win every game they won. And I think that people that say that are just taking away from a great championship run. You know which fights to fight and know which ones not to. And this is not a fight that I think that they should really fight.
Right. I mean, my feelings about Duke, but Lute Olson made a point after the game. There were 2 instances where Jason Williams should have and could have fouled out, particularly in that first half. He almost picked up that 4th foul when he was basically hanging over Gardner. And,
that could have changed the whole game. You never know.
Yeah, well, you do never know, and that's the great thing. That is the great thing about sports is, it can go either way. But, like we said last week, and talent will win any day of the week. And one of the things that I noticed before going into Monday night's championship game was that should Arizona have to go to their bench, that's really where Duke can capitalize, because Duke's bench, I mean, anybody who comes off that Duke bench, with the exception of maybe the team manager and the 13th guy, is a McDonald's All-American.
Yeah.
I mean, even Casey Sanders, who really didn't play that much all year, is a McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, I mean, and then you realize, I was just thinking the same thing. Justin Wessel and Luke Walton come off the bench.
Edgerton. He's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, but I think Walton is the best player on that Arizona bench. I think they go.
And he's not even that good.
That's what I'm saying. But Edgerton gives them some toughness, gives them some minutes. But I don't think that anyone's bench can stack up to Duke's in the nation.
Right. Certainly a terrific season for the Arizona Wildcats, and I think for a lot of people they were the emotional favorite.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
with Lute Olson's wife Bobby passing away New Year's Day, they were definitely the sentimental favorite for a lot of fans. I mean, I just asked a lot of people, hey, who are you rooting for tonight? And they'd say,
Arizona.
I'm rooting for Arizona. Why? Well, not because I hate Duke, but it makes a great story in sports. You have those stories, and we all like to see that. What's one thing, though, that we haven't spoken about is the health of Gilbert Arenas. I mean, he hurt the shoulder in the Michigan State game, and that certainly changed.
He was all over the court in that Michigan State game, had tons of steals, was just playing great D and hitting clutch shots.
You could see the quickness wasn't there.
Yeah. I think he pulled a muscle in his neck, I think was the official call. By the time that happened in that Michigan State game, though, Arizona had the game in hand, but he was not himself against Duke. As you could tell, he had a tough time standing up totally straight, had to lean into a lot of his shots, and that caused a lot of shots to hit back iron. He definitely wasn't 100%, was listed at 50%. So, I mean, but things happen. Duke wins, and we shouldn't take anything away from them.
The real difference between the two teams the difference between the two teams is that when Jason Williams gets hurt, they can bring in Duhan.
Well, Chris Duhan,
Right. I mean, even if Duhan goes down, I mean, Nate James can. I mean, he's not the best ball handler, but they just have so many guys that can do the job. In any event, we're going to wrap it up for now. We'll be back in 2 minutes. When we come back, we'll talk about the performance of Mike Dunleavy Jr. We'll get into some Michigan basketball next year, recruiting, and we'll talk about some teams next year that really have a shot winning it all. We'll be back in 2. Don't move. Okay. Welcome back to our second segment of the show. With me, Mike Koiken, here at WOLV TV studios in the penthouse of South Quad. Let's just wrap up Monday night's championship game, Final Four. We can't forget about the performance we saw by Mike Dunleavy Jr. I mean, he just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Mike Dunleavy Jr. at one point in the second half had 18 points himself, and Arizona as a team had 19 points. Okay,
wow, that
is a stat right there that lets you know Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the reason Duke won that game, in my opinion. The stretch where he had 3 threes in 45 seconds was
just incredible.
They were great shots. Mike Dunleavy Jr. scored 21 in the game, but 18 second half points. Really, at a time when Arizona was trying to stay in the game. Had Mike Dunleavy Jr. Not hit all the shots, we might be talking about a different national championship. He came up so big in the clutch, it was unreal. He's 8 of 17 field goal, but almost exclusively from the outside. As we see, Battier 18-11 in 40 minutes. What can you say about these guys?
Yeah, you look at Arizona and Jefferson. I mean, he really did have he had a pretty good game. 19 points, 8 boards, and 3 assists. I mean, he was flying through the air. And you can't forget the effort put in by Lauren Woods. 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. But I really thought that Duke did a great job of taking Woods out of his game. And what I mean by that is, they put Battier on him, who's a pretty good defender, but on the off, when Lauren Woods was on defense, Battier was strictly on the perimeter, which takes away a lot of opportunities for Woods to get blocks and rebounding, because Duke is a pretty weak rebounding team.
Yeah, well, maybe so, but Woods still had, 4 blocks, 11 boards, and 22 points.
Yeah.
You can't say he didn't play a solid game.
Well,
he played a great game.
He did play a great game, but the thing is, he didn't over.
Dominate.
As a 7-footer, going against guys, Boozer 6'8" or 6'9", and guys, he's got 4 inches on a lot of those guys, should be able to dominate. And a lot of people like to compare him to Tim Duncan and even Marcus Camby.
Tim Duncan.
Well, the fact that they're both 7-footers,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. And, those guys would have dominated, and he didn't. I think he's weak. At the same time, he just looked so awkward on a lot of his shots. I mean, he just didn't hit big shots when they needed. A lot of his points did come in the first half when the game was going back and forth. And, he's a great free throw shooter, so he's going to pick up his points at the free throw line. In any event, let's switch gears right now. Let's talk about our team, the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, pretty disappointing season. We've been talking about it a whole year. It's been a hell of a season. But, what can we expect from next year's team?
Well, one thing we can expect is a lot of energy. They've got a lot of guys coming back. Of course, Blanchard, Queen, Robinson Jr., Chris Young, a guy who we've seen just improve immensely this year compared to what he was last year. They've got a lot of guys who have the desire, and they've taken their lumps in the Big Ten season and just in the season in general. And these are going to be guys who are going to be hungry. They've got a lot of high-energy players, and they've got some high-energy guys coming in like Jaquan Hart, Dominic Ingerson. We're going to get to those guys a little bit later. But I think this team is going to be a team that's very active. Maybe we're going to see them get out and run more with Tommy Amaker at the helm, although that kind of goes against Josh Moore, so we'll see what his role is. And hopefully this is a team that can get out a year of experience, a year of seasoning, get these guys ready, and the young guys can provide an infusion of new blood and some scoring potential on offense.
Yeah, certainly big things will be expected from next year's team, including guys like Lavelle Blanchard and Bernard Robinson Jr. And, my personal favorite, Chris Young. I think the guy's an absolute warrior. And I think with a pretty good coach coming in and Amaker, you expect to see real big things from next year's team. I mean, I don't know if they'll be a top 10 team, but it can't be worse than this year. I mean, hopefully they can crack the top 25, make a little dent in the Big Ten. I mean, we've seen it in the past where coaches come into new programs and, the kids are excited, the fans come out.
We saw it at Ohio State a couple years ago.
Jim O'Brien came in there, and within, by their second season, hey, they're a Final Four team. But then again, he took Scooney Penn, so, the system was, he had his leader there. Regardless, though, these guys should be excited. I mean, the new coach coming in should be motivation for them to work over the summer, work on their games. I'm excited. I mean, I won't be here, but I'm definitely excited for next year's squad. Now, getting to the recruits, what can we expect from a kid like Jaquan Hart, Dominic Ingerson? Can we expect immediate impact from those guys? I mean, what do you feel about that?
Well, we've got two of the best two guards in the nation coming in with Ingerson and
that leads me to another question, which I'll get to in a minute.
And I'm not sure what Ingerson's going to play in college because he is only 6'3", and 185 pounds. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm not sure what kind of contribution. As we see, Dominic Ingerson from California, 6'3", 185. His junior year, 22 points a game. As we can see, 16. The stat that jumps out to me is 16 points a game at the Adidas ABCD camp. That's only the best players in the country. That means this kid can score against anybody. So I think he will make an immediate impact in the backcourt somewhere. You never know. Could be the guy that takes Avery Queen's job at the point.
You know what, though? You mentioned his scoring, but the problem on last year's team, I don't think it was really the offense. I think it's the defense.
Yeah, but Avery Queen, I mean, if Dominic Ingerson is that good, Avery Queen may be relegated to a
but Dominic Ingerson, let's not forget, he is a shooting guard.
Yeah, and he has to be making a big adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big adjustment. When you're a shooting guard who moves to point guard, you're taking away your number one ability, and that's shooting. And I'm excited to see with Dominic Ingerson coming off some high screens, some picks, shooting that rock, combine him with Groninger, those two coming off, could be lethal. My only question with Ingerson, I'm going to ask you this, is the guy has been known to have a little bit of a head case. You remember in a high school game, it was reported in a high school game this year, he took the ball after a whistle, rubbed the sweat from his forehead on the ball, and then gave it back to the referee. He was suspended by his high school coach. I mean, for a program that's had some, a little black flag over it lately, is this the kind of guy you want coming in?
Well, is it the kind of guy or is it not? It doesn't matter. He's coming. So we're going to either have to adjust to it or he's going to be gone. If Dominic Ingerson is going to make an impact, I think, simply because of the talent he has.
But where's he going to find time?
But he's going to find time. He's going to take time from somebody, and it's probably going to be either Mari Steerrod or Avery Queen, I would suspect, because he's not going to take time for Bernard Robinson.
See, I'm going to disagree with you on that one because I don't think the kid's a point guard, and I think he's a two.
They can figure something out if you put the best 5 players on the floor. I mean, I think that Bernard Robinson Jr. is going to flourish next year. You watch, he's going to take off under Tommy Amaker. I really believe that he's going to average big numbers. He's going to, he and Lavelle are going to be a lethal 1-2 combination like they were this year. But I think Robinson is going to improve a lot more than people think, and it's going to be fun to watch. I don't know where Ingerson's minutes are going to come, but I think they're going to come somewhere.
Right. Certainly we know that this kid Ingerson can shoot, but you talk about Robinson Jr. flourishing, and that's where I just can't see Ingerson getting minutes, especially Groninger. If you talk about Ingerson shooting, it's almost like Groninger's the same kind of player because that's what Groninger does. What I'm interested in seeing is the way this team plays defense next year, and Amaker being a National Defensive Player of the Year, former Duke, they love defense down there. That's where this team needs help next year. In any event, we're going to take a 2-minute break. Don't move. When we come back, we'll finish up our recruiting talk, next year's team. We'll also get into some teams who next year we think will have a shot at winning it all. And I think you can tell by the blue shirt who I like. All right, welcome back to the third and final segment of Break to the Lakes. Let's wrap up some of our recruiting talk here. We still have to talk about Jaquan Hart, Chuck Bailey, and Kelly Whitney. Any of these guys you see coming in making a real big difference anytime soon?
I think Jaquan Hart, if we can, check that out. He's 6'7", only 170, but he's from Flint. That's big time. 6'6", 6'7". He's from Flint. That's pretty big time because he is the first recruit from Flint, big time, since Glenn Rice. And, he's not a Flintstone, I guess, as you might say, like those Michigan State guys. Number 24 ranked senior prospect, according to Hoop Scoop. He's also ranked 12th, the 12th best shooting guard / small forward in the nation by Rivals.com. Dominic Ingerson is ranked the number 9 shooting guard in the nation. But at any rate, Jaquan Hart has discussed openly bringing it back to the old school, playing like Glenn Rice, bringing back the old Flint tradition that used to come into Michigan when Michigan had the pipeline to Flint, not State.
Well, Jaquan Hart has been noted as saying he was a huge Fab Five fan, and that was one of the reasons why he chose Michigan over Michigan State. What can you tell us about Chuck Bailey, Kelly Whitney? Anything about these guys? I know they're not the big name recruits, but
when we look at Chuck Bailey, 6'7", 195, the best player in the Detroit Public League this year, rated as the number 5 Michigan senior prospect. Not a lot has been heard about from this guy, but you never know. He could be a guy, first couple years, maybe practice squad makes an impact, getting the starters ready, guy who can bang against Lavelle Blanchard in practice. I don't know. I don't see him having a big impact, especially not next year. But then that brings us to Kelly Whitney, a guy out of Chicago, power
This is a guy you like.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he sounds intriguing. 6'8", 220.
You gotta love that size.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's where Michigan needs a lot of help is up front. He's the number 8 Illinois senior prospect, which might be a little misleading because you got to realize there are guys in Illinois like Eddie Curry, all kinds of guys who are very highly touted. That's
if you watch prep, you know all the Chicago guys.
Kelly Whitney can definitely make an impact. I think he's kind of a high energy, kind of active guy. I don't think he has much of a jump shot yet, but he's kind of guy who can maybe get some offensive boards, give them some tough defense, give them like 8 to 10 minutes a game his freshman year, and maybe provide a spark for this team. I mean, because right now anything would be better.
Well, if you look at power forward on next year's squad, so far all you see is Chris Young. I don't really.
And who's going to play center then? Josh Moore, and then somebody's going to foul out between those two.
Right. That's true. That is true. That leads me into my last thing I want to talk about. So far, we've heard Udonis Haslam, Brent Wright. Those guys will be back for Florida. Looks like Joe Forte will be back for UNC. Duke only loses Mr. Battier. Arizona really only loses Lauren Woods. We could see a couple of the same teams next year back in the Final Four with the addition of Florida. What do you like next year? What do you think?
Well,
certainly Maryland.
Maryland could.
Juan Dixon stays, which seems like that'll be.
Yeah, Juan Dixon is not really that big of a pro prospect because he weighs 155 pounds.
Right.
But
he's like a Lewis Bullock.
Yeah, essentially. I'm not sure who I like. I think the Duke. You always got to count them in. They've got some good freshmen coming in. Daniel Ewing is one of those guys. But the departure of Battier, though, that's pretty big. But Carlos Boozer, another year. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to go up to 20 points a game next year. I really think he's a guy to watch. He's got the big body and he's a hard worker. Jason Williams is going to be another outstanding.
We don't even have to talk about him.
Joseph Forte, he's money. He's going to average another 23, 24 a game. But I believe that Carolina team might slide a little with the departure of Brendan Haywood. They're going to have kind of a hole to fill in the middle, even though they have Chris Lang, who can definitely ball. So you never know. With those ACC teams, they're always great. I think an interesting team and a fun team to watch, as you mentioned, is going to be Florida. If anybody had a chance to catch the McDonald's All-American game,
that was awesome.
Besides the guys they've got coming in, they've got James White, David Lee. They've got a great team coming in. They had 3 guys in the McDonald's All-American game who are coming in next year, score a total of 57 points. They had 3 guys in the dunk contest finals.
Flyers.
James White, 2-hand double pump free throw line. That's got to be enough set. David Lee won the thing, so they took 1 and 2 in the dunk. These kids can flat out play, and they got Teddy Dupay, Brett Nelson, Brett Wright, Udonis Haslam. They're going to be a great ball club. I think if Florida can get it going together, they're going to play 9 to 10 strong, and they're going to press the whole game and just be fantastic.
You know what, though? It'll be tough to see how many minutes Coach Donovan can fit with all the talent they have on that team.
Might be some infighting.
Right. We saw with how well Pitino was able to do it when he had those Kentucky squads, and then Tubby Smith did it that one year in when they won it all in 96, 97. In any event, though, you like Florida. I still think Duke, though. I mean, I think that Duke UNC next year could go 1-2 pretty much throughout the year. You look at UNC, you give Ronald Curry another year under his belt. Hope he doesn't get injured in football. We saw what Julius Peppers can do. He was absolutely fantastic.
He's a monster.
Coming off the bench. It will be interesting to see if Chris Lang can fill the void, with Brendan Haywood departing. Let's not forget Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the only guy they really lose is Lauren Woods. If they can plug someone into that center spot, hopefully they don't have to move Michael Wright over to center because he is definitely not a center.
No, he's not a center.
He's not a center, but all those guys with a year more of experience, assuming none of them leave, Gilbert Arenas is the only guy who's even made an overture about leaving, and I think that'd be a foolish decision for him because in the NBA he would have to play the point, and I don't think he has the ball handling skills at this point in his life to play the point.
Well, we know he can shoot.
Oh, he can definitely shoot, and he can play some good D, as we saw.
He plays great D.
But I really think that Florida, that was a great analogy you had, like that old Kentucky team, which had Walker, Delk, McCarty, all those guys. I think that Florida could be that.
And that was '98, the year of Tubby Smith.
Yeah, Tubby Smith won it in '98, but that was a team that was just it was like watching thoroughbreds on a basketball court, and I think that's what this Florida team could do. They are so loaded with athletes. They're an athletic team. They could press all game long, and it could be great. It could be great to see a resurgence of SEC basketball out of those guys.
Anybody in the Big Ten you like next year?
Boy, I don't know. I think Big Ten might be down next year. Indiana is a solid squad.
Right.
They've got a good people coming back. That's a team to watch. Iowa, of course, is a team to watch. Illinois, I'm not sure. Frank Williams is probably going to go. Marcus Griffin will be gone, so Illinois is probably going to. They're probably going to be middle of the pack. Maybe Michigan. Who knows? Maybe the infusion of Tommy Amaker, new blood, and get things going. Maybe U of M could be shocking the world next year, and maybe 20-10, maybe makes the NCAA.
Yeah, 20-10 would be
It'd be fantastic.
Would be fantastic for for what this program's gone through in the past couple of years. Before we wrap it up, any big college names you see jumping ship to the NBA? Already, Eddie Griffin decided, to forego his final 3 years of school.
Yeah.
Any other big names you think? Casey Jacobson, Murphy?
Yeah, I think Troy. I think Troy Murphy will. I don't know. If I was Troy, let's put it this way.
If I was Troy Murphy, I would go. Right.
I would go.
Right.
If I was had millions of dollars in front of me, I'd go. You can always get your education later. But I don't think these guys think like that. So I don't know. I don't know who's going to go. I don't want to speculate.
Jason Williams did say when coach thinks he's ready, he's going to go. And anyway, I'm getting the sign that we got to get out of here. Tune in next week. Finish up some college basketball. It'll be our last episode. Unfortunately, thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yo, I've been down to MB ball since 5:10 and wrecked the hall. Now I'm merging for resurgence. Check the standings, man, it's surgeons. Spartan champs, the big ass runners. Wolverine's got more game than Hunter. You miss cagers, hyped like waivers. Blind shirt hit last second game savers. While roll off his fingertips. Then go switch like drag queen hips. Groniger, sinking trays. Hit more shots than NRA. Queen and Young, future stars like our BRJR. Just get tasky, sinking buckets. Features the basket, breaking Duggan. My man Rose, B-ball thug. Let him off the bench, triple dub, break to the lakes, break to the lakes, break to the lakes. Fast break, fast break, fast break, fast break, fast break. Wait, slow it down. We need some brawn with Aslan gone, and a man who can lead us on. Eller, no. Putzi, no. Amaker, Snyder, Smith, who knows? Yo, no joking, we need coaching. We got rivals that need smoking. Moore pound 'em, Jones will hound 'em. Searite Speed'll straight astound 'em. Jermaine G gonna go QB. Gottfriedson play some monster D. Colin Dill got the legacy, but can't dunk like HG3. No opposing the frozen chosen, throws up the ball and of course it goes in. Break to the lakes, break to the lakes, break to the lakes. Fast break, fast break, fast break, fast break, fast break. Wait, what do you mean they aren't going? Ah, damn it, where's the remote?